Stepping through the veil. That's so important. My coach says that. That's perfect. You need that self-coaching.
Yes, I'm a quick student.
They're amazing.
And we're live. I choose to make this fun and easy. That's what I'm going to say my mantra is before I go live every single time, because every time that I do one of these, by the way, they're so out of my comfort zone. I don't know what it is about Facebook Live or just doing interviews. I stumble over my words. I get like, my heart doesn't like race anymore, but I get like the sweaty pits.
Mine does. I get nervous before I do any videos.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better, because now I know I'm not alone, and you've done thousands of these.
If I've ever gone 2 or 3 days without shooting a video, it takes a moment for me to make myself do it. I have to literally recall and say, dude, you've done thousands of these. It's okay.
I don't know what
yourself.
it is.
You know what I find? I know exactly what it is. I'm more concerned about me getting rejected than I am about serving. Anytime that happens, I will not take action. But if I'm like, okay, let's go serve, I'm just here to do my job. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So when I can make that distinguishing difference and honor that and take action with that, that's perfect for me.
Yes, that's so well said, because it's all about getting out of your head and like getting outside of yourself and going and connecting. So like you said, to serve others, and like why we're doing this in the first place. It's just that, in the beginning, it's that old pattern. So I choose to make this fun and easy. And as soon as I say it right now, it is.
Like what you're going to know, like here, allow me to share this with you.
So different already.
That's what you're going to find. For me, it literally, what I know, I got to tell you this too. We're going to have so much fun right now. When I say that I choose to make this fun and easy, I can literally feel my heart go from unhappy to, it starts smiling. I'm like, okay, it shifts my attitude quickly. It's great. That's such an important.
I do. I feel my heart opening right now. Hold on. I need a video record this.
It is recording. It's live on Facebook. Hey, I was going to share this with you. I'm going to have my friend, the heart math person, I wanted to connect you and Brandon with, that I believe you might be able to get into doing corporate work too.
Okay.
She's an amazing human being. I'm going to connect you with her. She's going to be on my page Thursday to do a Facebook Live on heart math stuff.
Awesome.
I'll connect y'all.
It's on Friday?
Thursday at 2.
I may not be able to be on that, but
that's fine. I'm just going to connect to both of you anyway, because it's good for y'all to talk.
Cool. All right. So formal introduction. Hi, everybody. This is Deb Yager here with our Body Love broadcast. And I'm so excited to have Brian Johnson. I love you, man. You're awesome. By the way, behind the scenes, he just coached my ass and got me into a powerful, confident state, because I was having one of those days. We all have one of those days.
We do.
So today's a really special day for me, because it's actually the launch of my collaborative book with 14 other beautiful entrepreneur women. And I'm super excited about that. And I was telling him like how I just felt strange, and like how it's kind of this whole year of this journey that it's been. And I guess I was feeling kind of sad too. It was like this wrapping up. Maybe it was a loss of the whole, not a loss, but like grieving of the journey. I don't know. But I feel much better.
What if you did know? That's a big one. So what? Do we have permission to share this part?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is important. This will be good for you, and you'll pick it up immediately. So about 4 times during our chat, you said, I don't know, which is going to go code like, I'm not. So here's your little ninja trick. When you say, I don't know, it's totally fine. I still say it. And I'll say, well, I choose to know, or I give myself permission to know, or what if I did know, or who do I know that knows? That will allow me to empower my subconscious to retrieve the information, because technically speaking, there's nothing that we don't technically know or can't find out intuitively or through someone in our sphere of influence. So I choose to know great, because I don't know means automatic go unconscious, because our subconscious is 100% literal. Watch how fast it happens when you're around people. I don't know. It's quick. And I'm like, man, like, did you hear what you just said? I didn't say. I'm like, you said that, and I love you. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not judging you. I'm loving on you lovingly. So I choose to make this fun and easy, and I give myself permission to. Now watch, do it in your relationship. When someone says, I don't know, what if you did know? Oh, well, in that case, it's like I'm like, wow, that was all in there from that. That's amazing. Carry on.
So we do all the time in our training, like, okay, so what if you were to know? And I never thought of doing it to myself. That's a really good, good idea.
Hey,
What if I were to know? Because it's so unconscious when you say, I don't know in your speech. And I have, well, Brandon sometimes coaches me through it. Thank you.
oh my God.
So I choose to know. So I do think I do think, and I feel right now that it was such a journey and it's coming to an end. And I processed a lot of emotions through the journey of actually writing the chapter, overcoming my limiting beliefs about being a writer, sorting through, putting my story into words, overcoming the fact that I used to think that I wasn't able to write a book or good enough and all those things. And so I think it was, and I feel that it was just the end of that processing and a little tail end of the grief. And now that
it's coming up specifically to you to transmute it into your love and to your enjoyment. I love rapturous enthusiasm because that allows me to understand, like when I get in those kind of things, I'm like, okay, I know I hate how I feel. What can I do to change legally? Well, I got to figure out what emotion it is and then figure out what's on deck so I can actually shift it. That's why I think having someone in your corner is critical. But when you were like this today, I get like that. I don't want to be around people. I know that I could call you or Brandon and y'all would love on me and help me get back in the game. But at that point, I'm like, I just want to be by myself. I don't want to talk to nobody. So congratulations for being willing to kind of put it on the table because I know it was uncomfortable. And yeah. So great job. Great courage today you displayed.
Thanks. Well,
Proud of you.
that's the whole thing is being authentic and being able to put ourselves. I mean, that's the whole point of putting the chapter out there. And then also talking about my journey and my story is to give others the courage to be able to speak their truth. So I don't know. I choose to know. I choose to know. That's what it is. I choose to know. I love myself. I choose to make this fun and easy.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I have a quick study though.
It's amazing. I wouldn't even call it a study. I say a quick remembering. How's that?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so cool. So what we're going to talk about today, so Body Love Broadcast, the reason why I'm having you on is because of our conversation. I think it was when we were at Conscious Entrepreneurs. And I was telling you.
Yeah, I'm listening. Carry on. I'm grabbing something real quick.
I was telling you about a passion project of mine. This is before I actually launched this. About talking about body dysmorphia, perfectionism.
You know what? We did talk about that. I do remember. That's the first time I met Brandon.
Yeah, and it was the first time, and I saw you light up a little, and it was the first time.
I saw Brandon? Yeah, I was like love at first sight.
I saw you light up.
I love Brandon.
I was speaking, and I was calibrating that. Maybe you saw Brandon out of the corner of your eye. That's why you're lighting up. But I linked the two to mean that this was destined to happen eventually. Yes. I wanted to have this conversation with you.
Yes, I agree. I'm totally very connected to both of y'all.
So, and we talked about your story a little, and I want you to share your story because everyone else that I've had on this show so far has been a woman. And
they're not one of those.
Yeah, well,
I love them. They're amazing.
You have a very feminine side inside of you, which is we all do.
I've been crying a lot. Yesterday, I had to pull over on the side of the road. I had a massive breakthrough. I started crying so hard I couldn't even drive. I had to pull over, and I just stuck up. And like, that's the first time that's happened ever. So yeah, I'm okay with crying now. I used to hate it, man, but I cried one time so hard in front of about 40 people. Had no idea it was coming up, but now I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna cry for a minute. I choose to make this fun and easy. I've cried. Like, there's been guys that I worked with that were working with our teams that decided we wasn't gonna be a good fit, and they took off. I had one of them on the phone. I'm like, dude, hold on. I gotta give me a minute. I'm gonna cry for a second. Cried for a minute. I'm like, oh God, thank you for allowing me to do that. Because I do that around dudes sometimes. It's really weird. Like, something within me is healing something with masculine relationships. So when that happens, I'm like, man, I love you. Just forgive me for a minute. I'm gonna cry for a minute, and then we'll get on with our conversation. They're usually pretty cool. I might have to give them a little bit longer of a hug than normal. It's really weird. I think, well, I guess it's probably normal once people get to the point where they're processing all the stuff that's keeping them back from being able to feel and express that type of containment, which is probably more interesting. That and allowing myself to be okay with being embarrassed. I can fully feel what I'm feeling, which is another thing too. So we'll talk about a lot of that. So, hey, my name is Brian Johnson. Welcome to today. I have no idea where we're going to go, although it's going to be amazing because we got started about an hour before we got on the phone. So we're kind of warmed up. So with your permission, I'm just going to be Brian because I don't know how to be Frank. And just give me 1% of your trust and I'll do what I can to earn the other 99. So I come from today. I'll be 42 in November. And a lot of my life I was, Fat Boy was my name a couple times. In sports earlier in life, I was in shape and doing my thing. But there was times when I've been 250 3 different times. So here, I'll give you a little demo. So this right here is me at, let's see, 250, right when I got out of jail. And then that next picture is when I did a show at the Europa back in 2009. That was probably about six to 8 months between those photos. And it took me 6 months before that photo to figure out the combination to get down to the other part. So I've been that way 3 different times. And I say 3 different times because they're like, well, why the hell did you do it 3 different times? That's a great question. Great question. I did it 3 times because I didn't know to do any of the identity work to change who I was being and to change the images that I was seeing in my head to match and associate with who I was choosing to be. So I was doing more remembering on past ironed in experiences that I had no idea. First off, I mean, it wasn't explained to me. I didn't know that, right? So I had some experiences over my time that created some rather interesting experiences for me. The main one being a relationship that went south when I was 20. I had no idea I could even feel feelings like this. I had no idea. And I did. And the situation was she ended up cheating, doing some things, and I found out. Well, you get the idea, but here's a nutshell. Really quick, I dropped 20 pounds in 2.5 weeks. Now, mind you, I was in shape when this happened. I was probably 220, 240. I was working out all the time. And I dropped 20 pounds in 2.5 weeks because I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, started using drugs. And then that was just a whole soiree after that. 20. So then I went to college, all the same things. And man, I went to college some days. I got about 89 hours into college and realized this is a waste of my time. And I went for sports management stuff. And I was already involved in personal training and health and stuff like that because I started doing that at age 7 in my life. So I did it really early because I loved it. And that's kind of what got me to here. But the biggest challenge was with my relationship situation. That's when I went suicidal. That's also when I unconsciously went, but also unconsciously went not loving myself, and I didn't know. I had no idea. If you would ask me, I said, of unconsciously not loving myself, yes. Wow. I think so, because and for me, I had a great childhood. I was always in a great mood. I was really grounded and centered spiritually. So for me, I only had a couple little things here and there. Things didn't get crazy until I got out from the house. That's when things got crazy for me. So not crazy. We could talk about that, but suicidal. The biggest thing I found for me, and just really for anyone, is really, and I'll share this with you because I think you'll find this useful. So when I'm working with people, and Devin, we didn't even talk about this, but this will be something you could use if you choose to. I find it very useful because when I can figure this part of the equation out to any conversation I have with anyone, the rest of it's a breeze. Because once you're into alignment, you have access to more things. Things are flowing more effectively. Your thoughts are different. My moods are different. My attitude's different. All that stuff. But if I don't love myself, and I don't know that, that's when I end up doing a lot of dumb stuff. Drugs, mass amounts of them. Like I'm blessed to be alive. I know that. I ran out of luck a long time ago. I've done some really dumb shit. A lot of it. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I get out of that alive? But that's actually saved my life because I would have been dead without that. But the biggest thing is this, and I'll say this and share it with you, and you can use it if you're a coach or someone like that. Then I highly offer and submit to you to use this in your practice because this is where the rubber meets the road. So if I ask someone, hey, do you love yourself? And it's a yeah or a sure, that's not a yes. That's also why you and I, before we got into our dialogue, I was making sure that we got a yes in there. So you're fully integrated, because moving forward with a yeah or sure is not a great idea. If you're committed to having an authentic conversation to where this being is in front of you is fully present, myself included, yes is very important. You take this away from our conversation today and you just use that one tool in all of your dialogue, watch how much different it is. It's really interesting though, because I find as I communicate with people, people can either think I'm abrasive, people that are uncomfortable because I'm very direct in conversation. And a lot of times when I say yes, they're like, are you mad? Nope. I'm just making sure we're very clear on where we're at, so there's no misunderstanding of how we got to where we're going, because we're on the same page as often as possible. So using the yes piece is very important. But for me, I didn't know that I didn't love myself. Now here's where it gets really crazy. Let me get a sip, because this is going to be a great one. You ready? This is amazing. So the most fascinating stuff I've ever experienced in my life is body language and conscious language. So I was probably, what was I? Maybe like 36, 37, somewhere around there. So I was in class in Austin, Texas with my coach, one of my coaches. This guy's, I don't even know. I'm going to cry. Whew.
Ooh, get it.
Man. Whew. Oh, man. I choose to make this fun and easy.
I choose to make it fun and easy.
All right, here we go. I choose to make this fun and easy. This guy saved my life for sure. Whew, goodness. This happens sometimes. All right, so I was in class. There was probably about 20 people in there. My coach was talking to a lady who was sitting next to me, and I have my arm on the back of her chair. They're talking, no one else is talking, we're listening, and while she's talking, scratching my arm, like, I know it's scratch. This wasn't one of those scratches. This was one, like, I don't think I didn't have any tattoo at that point, at least down here, but I literally had whelps on my arm.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'm not a genius yet. Sums up. I know a little bit of body language, but sums up, right? So I got up to courage when class took a break, and I walked over to Bob and I said, hey, Bob, you know, what does such and such mean? And literally, he asked me something about 4 words out of my mouth. He goes, how long have you had a death wish? Really? I was like, I'm not even mad at you. How did you know that? That fast. I am hooked. So literally within a matter of 4 words out of my yapper, and he didn't even use the body language code. He just used the language piece, which is really fascinating, which is what we were talking about earlier. But here's what he picked up. The 100% download of any language or words that we use, our body, our subconscious rather, is 100% literal. So I said, I don't want to be scratching something. And he literally asked me, well, how long have you had a death wish? Because I don't want to be means I don't want to be here on the planet. Cancel clear. Choose my life. Now, that's when things got really interesting. I was hooked. I stopped everything I was learning at that point. And I had a lot of hours. Thank God I already got a good 30,000 hours in nutrition and things like that, because I was like, I'm in. I have never seen anything work that fast. And I've seen this guy duplicate miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle by stuff that's founded in systems that we can learn. I was like, I'm in. I'm studying with this guy for life. And that's basically what I've done, because his information, it's a game changer. It's absolutely profoundly amazing at how fast and how well you can articulate conversations and really provide tremendous magical grade value for someone, like on the spot, with very little information, sometimes none if you need it. Okay. So literally in the next 20 minutes, my coach is coaching me back into my experience. And here's where it gets really weird. So for 20 minutes, we're going back and forth. He has recordings of our calls. I wouldn't listen to it for 8 months. And I knew I needed to. I needed to go back. I needed to process it as an observer, listening to myself, because I wasn't there until he got me connected back behind my body. But literally, when we were talking, I was 4 layers at least away through language from being direct here and now in my communication, and my spirit-filled body being fully present and integrated. 4 layers away, minimal. I had no idea. So I say that because walk around, most people out in the world, they have no idea where they're at. Now here's where it gets even more weird. Same day, I left class coming back home to Austin. On the way home, 15-minute ride tops. On the way home, I get a phone call. Somebody I haven't talked to in probably 10 years. Hey, Brian, just thinking about you, man. I just want to let you know I love you. And I just wanted to call you and tell you that. Like, that's great. Talked to him for a minute, did our thing, and hung up. No big deal. Was a big deal, but not a big deal yet, right? Driving down the road, still 15 minutes. Get another phone call. Hey, Brian, just thinking about you. Just want to let you know I love you. What's going on here? I'm pretty quick to pick up things, especially now. But when I left class that day, I could have swore to you someone had given me some acid. I literally, my eyes went, phew. All the colors were different. Trees were moving. Animals were talking. I saw the weirdest thing. When I got home, I was sitting in my garage by myself. I got home, my family is acting completely different. And they have no idea what I just went through. Nobody had a clue. So I'm sitting in my garage, just kind of integrating everything, just being quiet. I require a lot of quiet time for myself, interestingly enough. I can be around people a little bit, but most of the time is be me by myself, just doing what I do. So I'm sitting in a garage, and all of a sudden I see this big hawk fly across the street. And it goes into this tree. And when it does, the bushes are all, I'm like, that's a big ass bird, man. It's like a fucking. So it's really weird because when the hawk comes out of the tree, it has a blue jay in its hand. And it stops in the middle of the street and it starts eating the blue jay. So I got up and I slammed my shoe on the ground to see if I could let it get to save a bird. The thing just took off with it. Now, I say that because if you are one of those people who understands the symbology, which I love to geek out on it, I'd love to know what that means, because that means something. The blue jay now the blue jay is really interesting because the blue jay actually represents the bond and the integration between heaven, sky, and earth because of the white, the blue, and the black colors that are in it. And the blue jay is fearless. So there's a lot of different things within the symbology of a lot of stuff that, for me, is a huge eye opener to help me understand when I'm in the game and when I'm not. Because when I'm having thoughts, I've had a lot of butterflies coming in, like butterflies being in the middle of a catalyst of change, and being able to recognize these things, both numbers, people, patterns. All of it is amazing feedback to help me get clear on where I'm at and what I can tweak, or just if I'm in the right zone of thinking, or being, more rather would be a better way, more appropriate, I think, to say. If I'm being the proper person, my thinking will be in line. So, yeah. How are we so far?
Incredible. I mean, what is it? What do you think symbology, like, what was it showing you? Because I know the universe put it right in front of you at that.
It definitely did, like right in the middle of my street. And there was no cars coming, nothing. I was sitting there, I was like, this is really weird. I'll find out about that. I know the hawk. I've actually seen hawks a few other times. I've saw 2 of them when I was at my social.
Pattern that was happening, not necessarily the bird symbology, but like, what is the metaphor?
Which part? Oh, are you talking about with the bird?
Yeah, the entire thing.
You talking about the bird specifically, or are you talking about my whole experience of scratching my arm and all that?
No, well, you transforming. I know that once I had an integration like that in my training. When I came home, everything was different. Like, I saw things differently. I breathed differently. I spoke differently. Like, it was probably the most
real-time transformation.
Yeah. The only thing I could say that could even make somebody understand to what it felt like was kind of like that Limitless movie where every like time, space, matter, energy slowed down. Like I could see the symbols of people's words coming out of their mouth.
Oh, wow.
It was
Really?
interesting. And it went on for about 6 months of just being, I felt whole
Mm.
more than I'd ever felt whole, because I believe what happened is I integrated my two selves, my conscious mind, my unconscious mind,
Sounds like it.
and just for the very first time, the two people inside of me stopped fighting. And so the reason why I ask, what do you think the pattern that you saw, like what does it mean to you right when that happened, and then even your actions of how you reacted?
Something was dying.
Mm,
Something was dying in a higher thought form, or a higher, in my what I think of as the hawk is more of a spiritual guide thing. And I believe for me that the blue jay, whatever that version of me represented at the time, the hawk came through and just completed the circle of life. Maybe me killing off the old version of me, which it could have been very likely, now that I'm talking about it out loud, that's exactly what it was. The higher version of me coming and eating the other thing and demolishing or utilizing all the nutrients to build into the next best version of myself. So I definitely could see that.
oh my gosh, that just resonated with me so much. Um, many times in this life, I feel like the old self is integrated and died. In fact, I mourn them. And that's the same
Really?
feeling that I just had today of that grief. Remember, I said the sorrow and the grief? It was the mourning the old self. And that it's almost like the rite of passage, or um, the old self integrating into the new and making space for the new recreation, the resurrection.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Interesting.
Gets better.
So what happened after that? So, and how did this tie into your journey with, your self-image?
Well, so a lot, you know. Um, the biggest thing was all of it, because I can tell you from 34 to 36 to now, I've had tremendous amounts of growth. I seek it actively. If it came down to it, I would be by myself, growing and learning and doing the things that I do because I love it that much. I don't watch sports. I'm not a news person. I know a lot of things I don't like to do, and I will not do because I'd rather sit at home and read and do some of the things I like to do, which is just where I'm at in my life, which is really kind of interesting. Long time, much of my life, I didn't ever want to be by myself. I wanted to be with someone. I wanted to have someone around to occupy my time so I didn't have to deal with me. Now I'm great with me. And most of the time I'd rather be by myself instead of being around people. But I also know for a fact too that it's very important for me to be around people. I don't know, it's interesting. I choose to make this fun easy. I have to be around people for me to feel fulfilled certain times because I need that interaction. Because that's also too, I can't help people when I'm sitting here chilling at the house, reading books, doing my things. I need to be around people to see what's going on, to be able to share and offer assistance. So it is a calibrated part of my week to get out in public, to go places, maybe go work at different places since I work from the house a lot. So that's a really important part to me. It's finding that interesting balance, which is where I'm at now in my life. Balance is never, cancel that. Balance, in my opinion, is a balancing act. It's never something that's done. I believe
Yeah.
there's constantly things moving around and adjusting and things like that. But it's important for me. It's on my measurable scale where I have something weekly that I make sure I do to be around people. So yeah, that's important. But I'll say that since I found out when I didn't love myself and I had no idea, from when that integration piece happened, life's been drastically different. Drastically different. Just, I will do things that most people will not do because I know that's what I need to do. And I will make myself do uncomfortable things because I know it's better for my growth. I'll do a lot of habit stuff. I just do things that I wouldn't normally do. I used to hate reading. I'm dyslexic from time to time. And I didn't know this in high school. And I read one book, The Shining, in high school. Outside of that, yeah, it's the one that held my attention, which is interestingly enough. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was like 32. Let's talk about this. So I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was 30. There you go. Dyslexic. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was 32. I had no idea. Just thought I wasn't paying attention, right? So I'm with my chiropractor. He's passed on now, bless his heart. Dr. John Martin. This guy is another genius. I'm so thankful that I have really amazing geniuses that literally just take me under their wings and just let me ask them all the questions, and they give me their cell phone numbers. I'm like, God, you must be crazy, because I'm going to bug the shit out of you to ask you all this stuff, right? But they literally have just poured into me. And one of these tools I'll share with you really quick has been an absolute gold mine. So dyslexic. So I didn't know this until I was 32. My chiropractor, I'm in a class called Touch for Health. And my chiropractor says, hey, Brian, come up here in front of class. You're dyslexic. What? Okay. So I get up. It's class. He goes, you're going to stand up here in front of the class, and you're going to take this book, magazine, whatever it was, and you're going to hold it in your hand. And you're going to hold your arm out here. And I'm going to push on it, and you're going to read out loud. You're just going to read one sentence out loud to the class. And you're just going to push on it, just going to get me some resistance.
His muscle testing you?
Yeah, exactly what he's doing. Now, my chiropractor, mind you, was probably 70. He's terribly out of shape, little bitty guy, very frail. So I'm up there, start reading, hold my arm out. He starts pushing on it, and I'm kind of stumbling a little bit, but I didn't have anything to compare it to yet. It gets really interesting now. So I get the sentence out, and he's pushing my arm down. It's a little bitty guy. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, right? I don't have anything to compare it to yet, but it's about to get really interesting. So then he says, okay, now you're going to do the same thing. And you're going to read from the period to the front of the sentence backwards. And I'm going to push on your arm. You're going to hold it out there. Okay. Get my little book out, pull my arm out, start reading backwards, just cruising right along. Really? I could have swore to you, my arm was so tight. I was so grounded. He could have literally took his hands and hung on my arm and pulled his feet off the ground. That's how hardwired, like, my body and nervous system felt. And I said, okay, there's a vast difference between what just happened there and what happened a minute ago. Is this what dyslexic means? Because if that's the case, I've definitely got some of that going on, because my nervous system was 90% stronger, like that fast.
Are you, do you have Hebrew background?
What do you mean? Like as in the language?
Yeah, I mean, well, we probably all do.
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, they read backwards.
Oh, really? Maybe I do. Who knows?
From what I was understanding. I mean, when I studied the Kabbalah, you would scan it's not Aramaic. I forget what it's called, but you would scan the words backwards, even though I didn't understand what they were. Just by scanning them with your eyes, you would go in a state of vibration from the letters.
Interesting.
And I know that they read backwards. So like I don't know, like I'm careful when we start labeling ourselves.
I've had experiences where my neurology was backwards and I was less effective for certain. So we'll just lift the
Well, I get my left and right mixed up all the time.
There you go.
And I don't know. I think we're just,
you know,
Brian. Yes, I choose to know. What I want to say is that I choose to believe that we're supernatural, and we just think
definitely are. And I believe also too that with the environment that we're in, there are definitely things that can impede our nervous system and our systems of our body that can definitely create some challenges around connecting neurology and just making sure that things are hardwired efficiently. Because I can tell you, there was no mistaking when he was pulling on my arm that there was a vast difference between me reading forward and me reading backwards.
I want to try that.
Wow.
I want to try that.
We can definitely try it.
Growing up, I struggled a lot with reading, and now it's just recreating that memory. I read fine now. I read a little slower, and sometimes when I read during the training, Brandon does most of the reading, and I jump in, and sometimes I stumble over my words. I think it's because of experience, though.
think it's a
And so
hardwired learning that's still in
I'm
there.
rewiring the new me. And each time that I read in the training, I get better. And so every day that I force myself to read and put myself out there for public humiliation, and I don't really think that people care much. Maybe they get a little frustrated when I stumble over my words.
I've never heard you stumble over your word.
Well, I do.
Other than just what we're doing now, but that's not really stumbling. That's just code. That's there for me to help you.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Well, next time you're in one of the trainings, watch me read
I do
out.
all the time. I've been through 3 of them. I watch the whole
Did you
time.
notice?
No.
Oh.
So, well, here, think about this. So here's another layer. This is for those of you watching. This will be helpful for you. So we talked a little bit about this, and we used this code in our conversation earlier. Okay. So here's the learning, if you will, in your languaging. When you have the stutter come up, instead of getting upset with yourself, count the number. Is it a 2? And. Hey. The word's irrelevant. The number is very important. It's code. When you get the 2, what's the 2? What's your favorite one? Remember it? Yeah, 2 is apathy. Apathy's 2.
Oh, it's hard, or I can't do this.
Yeah, and I choose to make this fun and easy to shift. So look, so let's say, for example, I'm going to be you, and you're on stage and you're doing a little thing, and you notice a little hiccup, and you hit a 2. You're like, oh, that was a 2 stutter. What's a 2 stutter? I choose to make this fun and easy. Oh, you automatically back in the game.
What if you just stumble over the words and they don't come out of your mouth? Because I do that a lot. I mean, I do it a lot less than I used to, though in the beginning, and sometimes when I feel like I'm not grounded, the words just don't come out. And depending upon what time of, like, I notice it happens differently when there's different stuff configurations going on in the sky. My speech, some of the words, it's very difficult. I have all these ideas and concepts, and it's difficult to articulate them. And sometimes I put the words in the wrong order. Do you know of
that
anything?
would? So here, let me share this with you because I think this will be helpful. When I'm doing that, and I have a word here that doesn't come out here, I'm switched, which means I'm backwards. Yes, that's for me. That's what I mean by dyslexic. So when that happens and I'm talking and I notice this does not come up with what I just was thinking about, I'm like, I'm switched, and I can ask myself, now here's how I can tell you this will work immediately. I'll say, show me a yes, my body went forward. That means that I'm good to go. If I say show me yes and my body goes backwards, or my pendulum spins counterclockwise, that means that my polarities are shift, or that I currently am experiencing some dyslexic tendencies, because I can tell when I'm communicating like that. If that, like I said, if there's something I'm thinking that doesn't come out, I know I'm switched, like automatically. That's my number one telltale. So now that you know that, do you want me to show you the little sequence?
Yeah, you did it before, but show it again for the listeners.
Okay, so I'll switch myself and then I'll switch myself back. So here's what happens. So let's say, for example, that you have any dyslexic types of things. I'm not a doctor. This sound I found helpful. So if you use it, great. If you don't, that's great too. Here you go. So what I'll do, number one is,
I can see you.
yeah,
there you go.
This is good.
Yeah.
So I will take one hand and I'll put it over my belly button. The hand doesn't matter from my experience. I've tested all of it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand. I'm going to take my God-given strength finger, or the bird finger. I'm going to take my thumb. So it looks like this. Okay. I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in my collarbone, not in my collarbone, right under my collarbone in the first rib space. Okay. I don't need to do it forever. I just need to push it. Okay. Keeping my hand on my belly button. That's important. You can switch it, but you got to have one hand on the belly button the entire time to ground it. Okay. So now I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to these 2 fingers. I'm just going to put them on my lips. I'm going to move them once. Taking my index finger. You're going to put it right on your tailbone. Not on your bone, right on the tailbone, the coccyx bone, the little bone. Now, if you're very sensitive and you pay attention, if you are switched, you'll feel your body go and get back in line. Now, more than
I just felt energetically. I took a really deep breath and I felt a shift.
Okay, then that's how it works. And I was thinking about this. Okay, so I'm good to go. Now that's really weird. I feel a little different too, but I can tell now. Can I share something really about as Yoda as you can get? I have known this little trick for a long time, and I was thinking, because I teach my daughter this, because I can tell when she's switched. And I show her how to do this at the grocery store so she can test foods and things like that. So she understands when she's not operating efficiently, because I found literally about 60, maybe more, about 60% of people are operating like that. They're switched from electronics, from food, from unresolved emotions. There's a ton of stuff that can throw you off. So just knowing that. So, what was I going to say? Brain fart. Oh, here we go. I choose to remember. So what you can do is you can do that ninja shift without touching yourself. It's tricky. You have to be able to separate your mind to where you can put one hand here and one hand here and visualize them both happening, and then change it and then do your thing, and it works. And you can test it. Huh?
I totally believe that, because if you're visualizing it and you feel it, then you're still firing the neurology of it.
Yeah. And honestly, it's an amazing tool, because if your little one's having challenges learning, you need to know this, because what's going to happen next is they're going to take you down to the office and they're going to say, well, little Johnny here needs to get on some Ritalin or some Adderall because he can't pay attention on top of the crap we're going to feed him at school. And then we're going to give him all these sugars and shit and expect him to be a normal human, and it's just not going to work. So here's what I will share with you. And I've had two hardcore, I'll share this because I'm more than likely you'll have kids, just people watching too. I found that there's kids that have had major learning challenges that literally the principal would call and say, we're going to have to hold your daughter back a year because she can't pay attention. She's all over the place, like completely erratic behavior. My buddy calls me and says, hey, man, they're trying to hold my daughter back from blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What is she eating? Well, she's eating a bunch of this and this, things you probably don't need to be eating. I said, all right, we'll try this out. Go get some DHA fish oils. Start with 1,500 milligrams. Fish oil, DHA. The DHA is for brain function, for pineal, for short-term, long-term memory function. It's great for memory. Go get some DHA. Start with that. Some kiwis. Kiwis are high in vitamin C, so it also helps out with the ADD thing. Get rid of the sugars that she's eating. Make these adjustments. In one day,
wow,
she goes back to class. The principal calls the house. Hey, what did y'all do to little Johnny? Whatever you did, I don't know what you did, but little Johnny is acting totally different. Little Johnny's sitting in his seat. Little Johnny's doing his work, and little Johnny is not creating any issues at all. So I don't know if you get some new drugs, or if you did something, but something you did changed. That works every time when you have the right little tools. So as a human being, as a high performer, you can use this stuff today. Matter of fact, I encourage you, get some fish oils. You need some DHA. Start off with 1,500 milligrams. And here's how I know. I'm amazing at remembering names first time, just because I've conditioned myself. I remember when I was running personal training departments for 24-hour fitness, I had a lady that I met one time. I saw her 7 years later in the mall. I was like, I know that face. I know that face. I know that face. She's getting closer. She's getting closer. Oh shit. What's her name? What's her name? What's her name? What's her name? As soon as I put my hand out to shake her hand, hey, Wendy, how are you doing? She's like, oh my God, how'd you remember my name? I was like, it's amazing. I'm not sure, but it just happened. So, hey, how are you doing?
Remember.
Yeah. So what happens is the fish oils work great to be able to do that. You'll find that you'll feel better. It helps with inflammation, helps with mood. If you're not taking a fish oil, having a good one can make a drastic difference on your brain health. And what they found is Dr. Gundry talks about this a lot. So Tony Robbins' doctor and Peter Diamandis' doctor, Dr. Gundry has been on our page, or I Think Great Lose Weight page, and I've interviewed him and stuff and shared him with our community. He talks a lot about fish oils because fish oils are critical for heart disease and heart challenges and circulation and nervous system, things like that. Fish oils can make a massive difference on your blood profiles, on your health. So if you're not taking any, get some, because they make that big of a difference. And you can't get DHA from anything other than fish. The vegetarian people like to think that. I just don't think that the quality of the nutrients is as effective, not opposed to it, but that's just my personal experience. You do what works for you. definitely an amazing tool. That and this one, something called ALC, acetyl L-carnitine. It's like $12
That stuff is
at the
good.
grocery. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
1,500 milligrams. I've seen somebody get a raise and change their complete life because they were that off in that nutrient, and the neurotransmitters wouldn't fire. And the person started taking that stuff 2-3 days later. The boss was like, dude, we're going to give you a raise and move you up, because this guy had a hard time even communicating with people because he was that deficient in certain things. So those two little things they're very inexpensive, and it's a great investment. And it's one of those things where you're going to know quickly if you've had it. I can tell when I've had acetyl L-carnitine because I can talk fast already, but I can talk fast very effectively and very clearly when I have these things going on in my brain. So my brain just operates on a better level from my experience.
Interesting.
Very.
I have all those things in the pantry.
Yeah.
And I even have kiwis in the fridge.
Try kiwis are great for.
He went all crazy after the qigong thing.
Yeah.
And kiwis.
I wish you could have gone with us. You would have loved it.
Yeah.
Kiwis are great for helping reverse, or I'll say they're
helping asthma and all kinds of things.
Asthma, right? And breathing and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of really amazing things in foods, grocery store foods. There's just most people just don't know. We're not taught that.
Well, that's your magical genius.
Yeah. One of them. I like that one. I love that one. That's that's really what got me started on being able to serve people, is work with people from all over, is understanding nutrition. And coming from a fitness background, I used to get paid to put people in their underwear on stage. So I understand all of those little mechanics. And now it's taking it out and taking it into busy entrepreneurs and moms and dads, and taking the ideas and the philosophies to do that, but putting it into a palatable way of living that will allow you to feel great naked. Because let's be honest, it's a big deal. Feeling great naked and just feeling good about yourself, feeling good about myself, is really absolutely critical. Because if we don't, people are also going to feel the same way. And it's just, we're not going to be able to live our full experience. And there's so many people, even myself, look, I still have opportunities daily to be unhappy with how I feel about certain things, especially when you go from doing something like this, when you go from getting on stage and being in this kind of shape, every day after that, you're thinking, how can I get back in this shape and enjoy my day and live my life? I'm not going to say it's not possible. There are some people who hold phenomenal shape. It just takes a tremendous amount of commitment and willpower and habits to stay in that type of shape year round. It's not impossible. Just very few people do it. My friend, go ahead.
No, I mean, well, that's a conversation I want to have. It's like, what are you doing it for?
Me, or just in general?
Well, what are those people doing it for?
Some of them just do it as that's their way of life, but they're also on the cover of magazines and things like that. So, but even choosing to be on a magazine and get in that kind of shape is still a lot of work, if you even get to do it. That's been an interesting one, but it is possible. And what I like to say is that there are ways to get into amazing shape doing a very little amount. And a lot of times when people come to me, they think, well, Brian, we're doing this workout, I'm doing this. I'm like, look, working out is 10% of the equation. I don't care what you're doing for working out. If you're not doing your food part right, that part's really irrelevant. So
I don't know. Like these are the conversations that go on in my head. It's like, what are they doing it for? And is it coming from a healthy place? Is it a place of needing to look a certain way in order to feel confidence? And not saying that is true or false. I know that I got in the pattern that anything that wasn't this perfect model was not good enough. And now I'm to the place where like I accept my body 100% and I love it. There's certain things like today when I was bloating, I mean, just to be completely transparent, I was triggered by it because I wasn't able to wear the jeans that I wanted to wear because my stomach was hanging over it. It was uncomfortable. And there was still like this little part of me that was kind of beating myself up. And I was like, wait a second, this is me now saying, wait a second, this is my beautiful body that does all these amazing things. I love you. I love this flesh. I love the folds. I love every piece of it. And it just brings me back to like, are people going to be happy with where they are right now? versus wanting to get back to something in the past or something in the future. Because I know I played that game for so many years. And
That's a
maybe,
very important question, because I couldn't authentically say yes to that part probably really until recently. It's taken that long for me to get clear on how can I just be happy right now if I never get to that part, because I've been choosing to get back to that part since 2009. So figuring out like, how can I have a happy medium?
yeah,
How can I enjoy myself? How can I still eat healthy? Because I know for me, I need to have some structure. If I don't have any structure, it's not good. I at least need to have some things that I follow and things that I write out and things that I track and things like that. That's important for me. You can do what works for you. But there is a way to be able to do all of it. I say you can have it all. You just got to figure out how to do it. That's why I love tracking so much, tracking body fat, tracking blood sugars, because it gives me real feedback to help me understand, like, okay, even though I fell off the wagon this weekend, I'm nothing compared to what I thought I was going to be. That's exciting. Now I can just get back in the game, whatever that game is. So,
totally. And it's coming from a different type of mindset for me now. Like working out is because I want to feel good and I like to be able to move and I like the way my body feels versus I need to look a certain way. I mean, yes, I love when I'm really lean. It feels good and it looks good. I like the way that it looks in the clothes that I wear. Though it's shifted for me of just I enjoy the feeling of my body moving and I like how that feels throughout the day, feeling strong and agile and just like having that and also eating well.
confidence.
Yeah, the confidence, but it's more than the confidence. It's more of it's just feeling good and feeling healthy and having good energy. And I think what triggered me today was I was coming off of a weekend of a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the fun for me, I think I still have old triggers around having a little too much fun for a long period of time. And so, like, every time I have fun, there's still this old pattern that I'm like, oh, I'm hurting my body. Like, I shouldn't be doing that. And whether it's with food or if it's with alcohol, I had a couple of drinks. I went to a party and I had like 2 glasses of wine. And then the other day we went out on a date and we had a margarita. And so just whenever I have drinks that are back to back, then there's this old program that's saying, oh, is this the best choice for my body right now? And then I think the bloating was the after effect of that.
So let me ask you this. This might be helpful for our little viewers here. Do you find yourself having any like terminology? Like, let's say, for example, I'm going out to eat and let's say it's Friday night, which is my usual reward meal. Do you have a thing that you call like, this is my cheat meal or my cheat weekend? Do you have anything like that? Or is this just normal?
Well, I don't call it cheat anymore because in the past, and I would like to bounce this off of you. Um, the cheat turned into a negative behavior because I overdid it. And then I would beat myself up after I would cheat, and then I would fast, and then the whole time I would beat myself up while I was fasting of like, oh God, and then it would feel like shit when I was fasting. And then I would just like the negative mindset that was tied around it was totally unhealthy. And I get the idea of strategic cheating, though
Strategic
it
rewarding.
implies it to me, it like implies that I'm doing something wrong versus enjoyment and celebration.
Agree. I totally agree. That's why I had my client said this. One day I was talking to my client and I said, hey, you did great this week. Why don't you go ahead and have your cheat meal? She goes, I worked my ass off this week. That's not a cheat meal. That's a reward meal. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. And I will take you up on the why did I ever think about that, genius. Thank you so much for sharing. So a reward meal. And here's something interesting too, because I find myself in the dialogue thinking, well, you're rewarding yourself for what? You're going to go eat a bunch of crap. You're going to go eat pizzas and ice creams. Like, is that really how you want to condition yourself as a reward? And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, I choose to just eat what I like to eat and enjoy myself and be freedom and flexible about it, and then get back on the program that I know for me is working. So you've really got to figure out like what that word or what the emotional is to that the equation. But I also tell you this much, in my opinion, I think it's an amazing idea to have a structured reward meal. Like when you go out on your day, have a time where you can have some drinks or have some pizzas or whatever you want. I think it's really critical to be able to have a balanced way of life. Now, there's some people who are super shredded that won't do that, but look, that hasn't been me. And I find that I like to have pizza on occasions, and I may have a whole thing of cookie dough. I may have a whole thing of Oreos. I may have a lot of stuff. What I will do is get back in the game and just start going back to do the things I like to do. But I think it's important to have that balance. You get to figure out what that balance is. And there may be a time when you say, well, you know what? I don't need a reward meal. I don't need a cheat meal for a while because I'm not craving it. Awesome. Then don't. Keep doing what you do. Just find out what that piece is to where you can use it to where you actually can enjoy what you're doing is important. And getting clear on the motives. Why am I doing this? How am I connected to it? Is it something that's benefiting me, or is it something that's creating conflict or prison or bondage for me that's not allowing me to fully express myself as a human being, loving myself first, and then being able to do what I enjoy doing?
I agree with you 100%. And this weekend, and I really don't even think that I was having really negative thought patterns. Maybe it was just the back to back that did it to where then the bloating happened. And the bloating to me now is just communication. It's like communication from my body, like, oh, maybe I didn't eat something with that combination. That was probably a good idea because I did eat a lot of cheese and I love my cheese.
Are you doing? I do too. Yeah. Secret about Brian, I'll get up in the middle of the night and eat a bag of cheese, like the mozzarella stuff, and I'll put my hand in and I'll squeeze it and I'll make a big cheese ball and I stuff it all in my pie hole and then I go back to bed. And when Penny's walking around at night, she's been in the refrigerator and she's like, what the hell's all over my feet? She turns on the light. It's cheese all over the floor from me getting up 2 or 3 times in the night and just leaving cheese all over the floor. And she's like, oh my God, she gets so mad. I'm like, don't take it personal. It wasn't personal. But cheese is important. So here's something that I think
cheese mean, like whenever your body is craving
I love cheese, but cheese is about like it slows your body down when you're having cheese. So a lot of the lymphatic issues and things like that, like this is too hard. When you think of milks, it's like, oh, I feel automatically congested. Yeah, exactly. Something that you may find helpful. Are you taking any enzymes right now?
I haven't been taking my regimen and I'm scratching my head. What does that mean?
I'm remembering. So that's an important one. I would say, like, for those of you interested in your health, one of the simple things you can definitely do is get some enzymes. My friend has an enzyme blend called Smart Carb. It's got some other stuff in it too to help. Now, this is important. It'll help with the sugars, meaning if you're having sugars, your body's automatically going to get more bloated. Like I totally, my eyes will swell up when I get sugar. But if you're taking cinnamon can help tremendously to help lower blood sugar levels. So having cinnamon combined with your enzymes can be very helpful in helping to minimize some of the backlash, if you will. So I find that when I do things like this, I'll boost my front end regimen up, like my probiotics, my sauerkraut, my digestive enzymes, because I know I'm going to have a debauchery. So that will help me to process things a lot more efficiently, really. And that's a very simple thing that you can do that will help your body out, because a lot of times too, are you drinking liquids while you eat?
Yes, I always drink a lot of water.
That's definitely going to be, if you're open-minded. Are you open-minded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Good catch. So think about this. Whenever we're drinking liquids, let's say we're not drinking liquids. In order for our stomach to be most effective, it needs to have the acids in it. The acids are about a 2.5 acid solution, which means it will burn your hand off. Okay. Now, here's the important part. When we're eating, our body's releasing acids, providing our body's in good position chemically and just biomechanically being able to function. But what happens is, if you're drinking liquids while you eat, the liquids are at a higher pH. They're not at a 2.5 acid. But what is at a 2.5 acid is carbonated beverages. That noise is the burn going down her throat. I know. I like to have Coke Zeros on occasions too, or something like that. So just have them
What about
within reason.
sparkling water?
What?
What about
Same thing.
sparkling water?
It's still acidic.
Yeah, no
But
more of
you,
that.
but you want to think about this. Get rid of the liquid while you eat so that your stomach can digest the food, because if you're not digesting food and you're putting liquids down at the same time, it's going to dilute the acid. So the whole process of your body breaking down your nutrients to assimilate them or to utilize them more effectively is drastically hampered when you're talking about putting liquids in at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in a little tip, drink right up until you take your first bite, and then wait 30 or 45 minutes after that before you start drinking liquids again. You will probably find a tremendous amount of digestive support. And add this to your little equation. If I would say the science says that anytime we're between 30 and 33-ish, we usually have about 15% or 20% of our hydrochloric acid in our stomach diminish. I guess is because as we get older, things start to kind of do their thing. So one thing that I found was really helpful was getting some stuff called betaine, HCl, or pepsin, Pepsin. They're both acid producing things that you can put into your stomach that will help to prime up our stomach acids. And you'll know if it's effective because your digestive, meaning your bowel movements and things when you go to the restroom, will be much more smooth because your body has the chemicals to break it all down. If you haven't never done those two things, do them and try them out, because those things can make a huge difference in bloating and how you feel and being able to pull in your stomach and not be like, oh my God, like I have all those experiences. And digestion enzymes and things like that, in my opinion, are some of the best things you could do to keep your digestive tract nice and smooth, because it's important for sure.
Dang, and I was drinking a lot of carbonated water the night that I did a lot of the cheese.
That probably was actually helpful. Simply because the cheese is such a gooey thing that as long as it was a 2.5, I mean, you'd have to test the pH on it. But if it was a 2.5, it probably would be helpful for that specifically.
Interesting.
Does that make sense? Why? If it's a 2.5 acid solution, because the cheese is very gooey. It's very like bread.
Well, no, some of them was soft.
Yeah, cheese and just cheese and breads in general, just for FYI.
I didn't do bread. I did. So when I say that when I celebrate, I still eat moderatively healthy just because I like to. I had, and I don't know if this combination was necessarily good for me. It was those plantain chips, those really good ones from Whole Foods that are in the pink bag that have the salt. I was craving sea salt all this weekend, but I was also coming into the moon. And so I had the plantain chips with the sea salt with the cheese. And
it smells so tasty.
It's so good.
Yeah, you had a double hit with the salt. Salts are well, if you get good salts, like salts that are really balanced out, I find the water retention levels aren't near as much unless it's some kind of
I was using the Himalayan. So I let my body like salt now. There for a while I was not doing salt, and then I got my blood test back and they said that I was very low in sodium. So when I'm craving it, I muscle tested, of course, and it was muscle testing, though probably with the combination of organic wine and everything else that I had.
All imbalanced. The biggest thing you could do is just up some enzymes.
Yeah.
Up your digestive support to give your body that front end boost. And then we talked about some asparagus. So this, ladies and people watching this, may be helpful. So one of the ninja tricks to get people on stage is getting a lot of water out of their body. And this could be like, let's say, for example, you're going to the pool party, or you're going to a party, or you're going to do a photo shoot, whatever it is, right? One of the things you can do is take some asparagus, wash them first, put them in some good clean water, wash them off, and then dump that water out, put some new water in, some good water, steam them. And then as you steam them, what's going to happen is the asparagus are going to drip their essence of stuff, whatever that may be, into the water. And what you do is let the water cool down and just drink it. Now, I was telling Deb, I was like, when you do this,
I'm going to pee.
Be mindful, because it's a heavy duty diuretic, but it's also your top detoxifier. So this is important. So the asparagus, the avocado, and the broccoli, 1, 2, and 3, asparagus, avocado, broccoli, are your top sources of glutathione, which is not a thing, it's a process, which means it will help to detoxify every cell in our body, so that when you have asparagus, when you've gone to the restroom, you may have noticed that your urine might have smelled a bit more pungent. That's because it's pulling all the toxins out of our kidney and our liver. So you want to make sure when you have asparagus to drink more water, because not only does it do that, but it's also very high in potassium, which means anytime you have a lot of sodium, if you notice when you have a lot of sodium, your body blows up. It's because your body's toxic. So it's sucking in all that water to dilute all the acids and stuff going on. So what happens is when you have a high level of sodium and you take some potassium, when the sodium levels are up here and you put the potassium in to match it, all the excess water will dump out. So the asparagus works really well at being able to do that. Just like I said, just make sure that you're not anywhere where you can't go and pee a lot. Because if you do that and you switch your water over to distilled water for that day, watch it. Sometimes you may drop 4, 5, 6 pounds. Just depends on how much water you drink. If you slam a good gallon, a gallon and a half down, and you're sweating and you go work out and do things like that, the probability is very high for you to drop pretty intense amount of excess subcutaneous water.
Is it a healthy though? Is it a healthy?
I would say so, because you're not doing it all the time. That'd be one thing if I was doing a bunch of speed or doing something like that for 2 or 3 days and being already super dehydrated and then doing that, probably not a great idea. But doing that as a normal way of detoxification, it would be phenomenal, because our body is coming across toxins all the time.
Totally.
So I would even encourage and offer to you to consider doing broccoli, asparagus, and avocados daily.
I had it last night with, I had avocado and asparagus. I'm going to have broccoli tonight.
Great. Make sure if you're having any thyroid challenges, like ladies who have any hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's is the terminology, I disregard all of that stuff. Just say my thyroid is not working as optimal as possible, which means if it's slow, I would invite you to consider if there's any unresolved anger challenges with any females. If it's fast or hyper or Graves disease is what the terminology would be, disregard all those words, because you don't ever need to know what the word is. When you give it a name, now we got a problem.
Yeah.
You just say, hey, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, to add on to that, I know thyroid troubles is connected to, at least from Dr. Hammer's point of view, powerless conflict. Makes sense with, you said, with anger with women.
Yep.
I've seen it with men and women. Yep.
I've seen most of it with women, interestingly enough, but there is some with men for sure. But it's really interesting. Most of it I've seen with women. That's interesting. You know why? Thyroid's about will. When someone gives up their will, or they're angry or frustrated, or they don't have their power, that is thyroid. That's interesting, because back in the, maybe the 40s or 50s, when there was a lot of suppression going on with women, there was a lot of thyroid medicines given out because their will shut off. Boom. And the synthetics came in.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I reclaim my will. That's important. So the whole reason for saying that is because if you're having broccoli and you're having slow thyroid challenges, probably would not be a good idea to have broccoli unless you're going to cook it really well. So you cook all the goitrogenic properties out of it. Goitrogenic properties can slow down thyroid. Now, on top of that, the most healthy or beneficial part of the broccoli is actually the stem. It's got some stuff called glucoraphan in it, which is just one of the heavier duty phytonutrients or phytochemicals that helps with detoxification. It's very helpful. So if you do the broccoli stem, I would suggest putting it into a 3 horsepower blender and chewing it up in your smoothie and drinking it that way. And it doesn't taste like much.
Yeah, it tastes like stem. I find that there's like a nice, I always cook the stems because I think they're the tastiest part sometimes.
Oh, really?
They always have like a little sugar. They taste like they have sugar to me. And I put, sea salt on it, a little garlic. It's good.
It's great. It's good. It's actually interesting how you were craving that. And you'll find that when you are craving things, you'll kind of go towards those.
Sure.
Food's just really amazing. You know what? Since we're talking about food, let's talk about this one real quick because I think this would be helpful. So the walnut, very interesting. The walnut can increase our vasodilation or our blood vessel size by 24%. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like literally, that can help people with ED issues, men issues. That can, and it also too is it will triple the blood melatonin levels. So if you're having challenges going to sleep, having some walnuts will help tremendously to triple your blood melatonin levels. It will open up your blood vessels too, to actually allow your body to get more relaxation, more oxygen, more nutrients, more detoxification, all that stuff. And it's known as a pineal nut. So if you ever look at the walnut,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
literally looks just like a brain, which is really interesting. So there's a lot of benefits to that, the omega-3s and things like that too. But it's definitely one of those things that can help tremendously taken before bed. Like
So let's wrap it up, because I gotta run, and I want our listeners to get the one last amazing hack. Like, what would you say is the most powerful way to pull people out of this challenge that we have with the perfectionism, the body dysmorphia, the self-image stuff?
tools.
Tools specifically.
You need some tools. You specifically need some body language tools. You need to understand where sorrow shows up when it's active, where fear shows up, where anger or frustration shows up, whether it's about yourself, using the language codes that we talked about.
Yeah.
Those are the two fastest ways that I've seen. And those tools have allowed me to help people really fast. And most importantly, this guy, because I need the tools to be able to navigate my life experiences, because the more I grow, the more conflict I come into, because I'm pushing through things faster. So I need the tools to navigate my well-being. And I can say full confidently that the tools that I've been blessed to have and use are miracle grade, because they allow me to get very, very quick, very, very detailed, and to not really I don't ever need to know the story. Don't care about it other than I love you, but I don't ever need to know that stuff. I just need to understand where we're at and help you make a couple of adjustments. And the beauty of that is our body will say, okay, well, I'm seeing differently, or I will, or it will give some type of feedback to ensure or to validate that we are harmoniously moving forward. That's the beauty of body language and language code, that it works so amazing well when I'm able to read the information lovingly.
How can people get a hold of you?
Facebook would be the easiest way to do it. You can go to I say the page where I'm most active is called Think Great, Lose Weight. It's really about performance. Like all the stuff we're talking about, if you got value out of it, this is what I talk about. That would be the best place to go. And then if you want to talk, I do my conversations for free. I'll have a 15-minute chat with you and see what's up, see where you're at, and see what kind I can tweak and maybe give you some ideas for some rapid results, because that's what I do.
Love it. Highly recommend any of the people that are listening. He's incredible. I mean, he took me through a very quick process, was able to unravel. I did a little bit of the timeline at the same time, and just, I feel a complete shift. And
yeah, your demeanor's drastically different. Yeah. It's like, oh, Deb's having a moment today.
I was trying to cover it up so he couldn't see, and it didn't work.
Well, it's supposed to happen that way.
This Facebook Live, and I'm just going to show up and grunt my way through it. And yeah, they didn't let me have it. So I appreciate that, because I did some unraveling, and I had the enlightenment too, just of understanding where it was coming from. It was another chapter turning in my life, and an old part of me dying. So which is beautiful, because I'm developing into this new next level of myself. And on to the next.
That's right. I love it.
If any of you are interested in joining Brian, get a hold of him. Listen to the entire thing. I highly recommend listening to it all the way through. Also, I want to do a little self-promotion. If you are interested in joining all of us ladies, there's 14 women that co-published a book. It's called We Are Brave, and it's story and the journey of overcoming self-doubt and challenges and different things, and stepping into our power in business and our secrets of how we became successful. So highly recommended. Today is our launch, and you can download it on Kindle, or you can buy the hard copy as well on Amazon.
Just give me a link and I'll promote it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We are wanting to get to the #1 bestseller today. So I think it ends at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Get your book now.
Get it. And give us a testimonial as well. I would love that. Also, we're also having a 3-day business training coming up at the end of this week. And if anybody would like to join us on that, we have 2 seats left. So
that's going to be amazing. I'm excited. This is extremely valuable information. This is my second time, and I've been studying the whole time since the first one. So I'm really enthusiastic. I'm going to sit on the front row this time.
I love it. Awesome. So put it in that. Will you put your information in the comments as well so they can get a hold of you? And
there's comments. Is this on Facebook?
Well, once I end this live, will you put it in there?
Yeah. So here's what I'll do is I'll put a link that you can click on that will take you back to my rapid results program. At least it will get you in connection with me, and you can say, hey, Brian, we just watched you on Devs, and we'll pull up a chat and see how I can support you. And that'll make it easy for you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing time with me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for being open-minded to me sharing time with you.
I love you, man. You're awesome. Highly recommend this man. Every single one of you, connect with him if you felt connected during this journey. So yeah, thank you. All right. Peace out.